Good afternoon, students. The topic of our lesson is attitude of British teenagers to sport. And during our lesson, we will speak about popular sports, games, famous sport places in Britain. Practice sport lexical material in speaking, organize listening tasks, read and watch, find and discuss additional information on the topic, try to understand as more as possible information during the lesson. To my mind, sport is very important in our life, and I'm sure that to be a happy person is to be a healthy person. I think that you agree with me. If you want to have a strong and beautiful body, you must exercise yourself. We can't buy our health. We should be more careful to eat. The healthy way of life is a way without alcohol, smoking, drugs. I hope that such things as, for example, love, friendship, respect, happiness will help us to be healthy and not only physically, but spiritually as well, as Latin proverb says, a sound mind in a sound body. And now, my dear students, it is interesting to me to know your opinions about your attitude to sport. Try to finish this sentence, please. Sport is very important in our life because. Think a little. And I want to help you. I give you some possible answers. For example, I think everyone must do all he can to be healthy. Sport makes people healthy, keeps them fit. To my mind, sport is very important in our life because physically inactive people get old earlier than those who have plenty of exercises. As for me, I think sport is very important in our life because sport activity helps me feel cheerful, active, and full of energy. That's why it's necessary to go in for sport. If you want to be healthy, strong, and beautiful, you should go in for sport. Okay, and now look at these words and phrases and try to make word combinations. For example, to go in for sport. Next, to keep fit. To give us joy and pleasure. If we speak, for example, about sport, we can say sport gives us joy and pleasure. To watch sport competitions. To have a strong and beautiful body. And the last, as I have said at the beginning of our lesson, a Latin proverb, a sound mind in a sound body. Okay, and now look at these phrases and try to make sentences with these phrases, to use them in your sentences. In my opinion, as for me, from my point of view, I think, I believe, I'm sure, it seems to me that I agree or I disagree. Think a little and make your sentences about sport and your opinion about sport, going for sport. Okay, I hope that you have made 2, 3 sentences. It's very easy. And for example, my sentences. As for me, I go in for sport very often. I'm sure sport helps us to keep fit. I think if you go in for sport, you will have a strong and beautiful body. In my opinion, sport gives us joy and pleasure. As for me, I like watching sport competitions because it's interesting and exciting. Okay, so please remember to use these phrases when you make your opinion. It's very important. So now we are going to speak about sport in Great Britain. And you know that Englishmen are great lovers of sport, really. They like to talk about sport, to think about it. And sport plays a very important role in their lives, yes. And now we are going to watch a film about the most popular kinds of sport and games in Britain and the famous English venues. In this film, you will hear many new words, and please try to understand them, learn and remember. And now some of these words. Venues, place used for a sporting event. Wembley, a famous sports stadium in London, the most important sports event held here every year. Wimbledon, District of London. It's well known around the world as the home of the All England Tennis Club. St Andrews, a town in Scotland famous for the Royal and Ancient Club. Henley, a town on the River Thames. It is famous for the rowing races held there during the Henley Regatta. And Lord's Ground, a famous English cricket ground. So, while you're watching film, please pay attention to the names of sports, venues, and numbers. Try to understand more information because you will have some tasks and you will get marks for it. Okay, so let's watch.
What sport do most British people like? Is it football, cricket, rugby, or something else? The answer is very surprising. In this programme we look at sport, and we begin with some famous sporting venues.
This is Wembley, the scene of some great football matches. All tennis players want to win the tournament at Wimbledon. St Andrews in Scotland is the home of golf. Henley on the River Thames is the centre of the world of rowing. And here in London is Lord's. It's the headquarters of the game of cricket, a very British game.
But sport isn't only for experts. All over Britain, more and more people are taking up different sports and activities. Swimming's popular. There are over 20,000 public swimming pools in Britain. How often do you go swimming?
I go swimming once a week. I go swimming 3 times a week. I go twice a week.
Why do you go swimming?
Because it's fun. I go swimming because it's fun and it's a great sport.
Lots of people go cycling. Over 1,200 clubs belong to the British Cycling Federation. But the most popular sport in Britain is walking. About 40% of British people go walking. There are 225,000 kilometres of national paths in England and Wales. These people are walking along the Pennine Way. It's a very popular walk, and it's 412 kilometres long. Of course, Not everybody walks from the start to the finish. The British love watching sport too, on television and live. Over 55,000 people go to see Manchester United play in Manchester on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Horse racing, motor racing and rugby are also very popular. Sport is for everybody, young and old. These people are doing aerobics. They do it to keep fit and because they enjoy it.
Some people are more serious about sport. You find people at this club every night of the week. Some are training for competitions. Some are hurdling. And some are running.
Come on, go, go, go! Well done, that was a good time.
Wow, very fast. Most towns and cities in Britain have a variety of sports clubs and facilities, like this athletics club. They often have large sports centres too. And don't forget, in Britain you can also play some unusual and interesting games. Cricket's famous, but what's this?
It's croquet. Originally a French game, it's popular in Britain, especially if you have a large garden. Is this squash? No, it's called real tennis. Modern tennis comes from this game. And what's this? It's a Scottish game called curling. You play it on ice.
Okay, on your marks, get set, go! I must get fit.
So let's remember again. Lord's Ground is the headquarters of the game of cricket, a very British game. Wimbledon. All tennis tournaments are held at Wimbledon. St Andrews in Scotland is the home of golf. Wembley is a scene of great football matches. And Henley on the River Thames is the center of the world of rowing. Guess the name of the sport according to the following definition. 30% of the British population is keen on this sport. They walk long distances across the country. What sport is it? It is walking. Next. This sport is very popular. People can go in for it in 20,000 public institutions. It helps them to keep fit, but for many it is just fun. Swimming. Lots of people go in for this sport. There are 1,200 clubs that are included in association. It is cycling. This game is watched by 25,000 fans on Saturdays and Sundays. What can it be? It is football, of course. The birthplace of this game is Scotland. It was included in the program of the Winter Olympic Games 2002. What is it? It is curling. And the last, it is a very English game. For practicing it, you need a large garden. Of course, it is cricket, English game. Complete the sentences with the following numbers. It will be your homework to complete the sentences. And the second task is to say if the statement is true or false. So write down your homework. Complete the sentences with the missing numbers and to write if the statement is true or false. And send your answers to Google Classroom. That's all for today. Thank you. Goodbye.